here. I'm just sitting on a park bench, really. Looking out at the Columbia River. It's a beautiful day here in Astoria, and I thought I would share this beautiful scenery with you on today's video. Talking about the shortages that are going to be coming soon due to the fact that China has this massive amount of tariffs that have been pushed upon their products that are now leaving the ships half empty. Now, I left a link down in the description for you guys to go and check out that information for yourself and come to your own conclusions on what it is that's really taking place out there. Now, if you just look at that one issue, right? The ships coming from China are now half empty, or at least they're starting to come in half empty, or at least that's what the news article is trying to say that's taking place out there. But then you find other articles out there that are saying China's not worried about this situation and that they're looking for other markets to deploy their manufactured goods to. Something that I think is pretty interesting about this whole idea about how China is now looking for other customers out there in the world. Nobody is going to be a consumer like the United States is. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get that product to the United States because the United States is the biggest consumer of the entire world. Even if you could find buyers of that product in different locations of the globe, they're still not going to have the purchasing power or the purchasing might, however you wanted to describe it, that the United States has. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get those products to the United States. And the best way to do that is to route it through other nations, since China has all these tariffs that are implemented upon their products coming from China to the United States. Well, if they route that through Thailand, if they route it through Vietnam, if they route it through these other locations, they very well may be able to avoid the tariffs that are pushed upon those products and eventually find their way back to the United States, where the actual consumer is. So ultimately, nobody knows exactly what it is that's taken place, and this is part of what I have described as far as the credible threats of these tariffs and how it is that they are being used. We don't know what the workarounds are going to be. We don't know what the exemptions are. We don't know how they plan on rerouting this traffic. We don't know anything about the end results of what these tariffs are, but the credible threats behind them are very impactful. In fact, we saw a surge in purchasing coming from foreign production coming to the United States by the United States itself. Like, the entrepreneurs of the United States wanted to get ahead of the tariffs, and so they increased their purchases of that foreign production to try and get ahead, or to avoid the taxes that they would end up paying from bringing in this merchandise from China. You think about that in itself is a benefit to China, right? This surge in purchases. Now, again, that might have the direct opposite reflection, as the backing off of purchases due to the tariffs are then going to have the exact opposite effect, where you would find, instead of a surge, you would find a pullback in those items. However, if China is experiencing this, which they are, right, massive deflationary pressures that are happening upon their country, they are going to do whatever it is that they can in order to find that direction that they need to go with their materials to find its way back to the United States. And I believe that routing that stuff through other nations like Vietnam and Thailand are going to be the prominent situation that is going to be taking place so long as those tariffs are being implemented upon China. Now, another thing that I found very interesting about it is that the administration, like Donald Trump, has openly said that he will be removing these tariffs in the future. He's going to be making the deal. It's his deal. He's the one who's in charge of it all. But ultimately, they are going to go away. So this is very much in line with what the Federal Reserve was saying with their monetary policy just a few weeks ago, that they are anticipating that these tariffs will be removed from, the global economy, and that the ultimate situation will be alleviated, and the United States will win. Now, I'm thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute here. If you remove these tariffs within a few months, even if you were to go for a year, that doesn't bring manufacturing back to the United States. That was the whole goal, right? Was to bring manufacturing back to the United States. But if the tariffs are alleviated inside of a year, how is that going to keep the pressure on in order to bring that manufacturing back? It's not, right? It's not going to. And so what is going to end up happening is that you're going to find that there's going to be inflationary pressures that are built from this, right? I mean, that's ultimately what the goal is to create an inflationary pressure. They don't really want to, try and bring manufacturing back to the United States as much as they say that's the case or the belief of it. There is no real capabilities of them doing that. Like, I should have left a link down in the description for this one. The idea of bringing manufacturing of pharmaceuticals back to the United States. Now, if you go and read the executive order on this, it doesn't have anything written inside of it on how it is that they plan on bringing manufacturing back to the United States, outside of alleviating some of the burdens that try to restrict manufacturing from happening here in the United States, but nothing actually promotes it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I understand that some people will say, no, by alleviating some of the regulatory issues that are happening within the construction of manufacturing, can then give some entrepreneurs or investors the idea that, hey, maybe we can make a profit off of it. But that isn't exactly going out there and saying, hey, we are going to invest directly in manufacturing of pharmaceuticals. No, they're just creating an environment that may be more attractive to an investors. That doesn't necessarily bring it back, right? So like, all the effort is to try and create an environment in which it says, hey, isn't this better for you? Wouldn't you like to come back? Right? It doesn't exactly fire up what I would believe direct investment into that opportunity. Okay? Again, I guess we'll have to wait and see what actually happens from it. But to me, it's very much in line with the idea that they're going to open up federal lands for logging operations. And I'm thinking to myself, do you really need more logging to take place? I mean, we ship, all these ships here on the Columbia River, a huge majority of them get filled with raw logs and get sent over to foreign nations. Why would you want to increase the logging of a nation that is exporting those logs to a foreign competition to increase the domestic lumber supply? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That is a whole different product. Opening up federal lands for logging operations doesn't increase demand for lumber. It doesn't even do anything for lumber, right? What it does is it opens up opportunity to sell that to a foreign nation out there, and they're not buying it from us. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, the idea behind it sounded great. Like, just saying it out loud, it was just like, hey, this is a wonderful idea. Right? And it was just like, yeah, opening up, government lands for logging operations, sure, alleviate the pressure that is happening out there. But the point behind it is to create more lumber. But that's not what the demand is for sending those logs over to other foreign nations. See how this doesn't make any sense? But the idea, the credible threat behind it, very impactful. Very impactful. The results of that are probably pretty much superficial. Ain't gonna do anything. All right, I just wanted to come out here, share a little bit of information with you guys, but really I wanted to give you guys today's view. I think this is probably one of the nicer days that we have experienced here in Astoria. It's very mellow, the temperature is down, we got a little bit of cloud cover that's keeping it from just being this super hot sun. Like, we actually get super hot sun up here, but Oregonians, we don't handle the heat very well. This is a perfect day. Very mellow, beautiful day out there on the river. Simon can eat fresh fish from that river. Yes, we can. Let's see here. This is as beautiful as I fish for my buddies koi fish. At least it's not raining there. I'm in Montana in our RV, and we just had 2 inches of snow. Oh, it's terrible. Beautiful view. Well, thank you very much, guys. This video is more about the view today than it is about anything, but I wanted to share some information with you as well. Buy used, well-made, finished goods. I don't buy any Chinese junk. Well, good for you, Vaughn B. That's actually understanding how it is that the Cantillon effect will separate the rich from the poor. The inequality it comes from the buying in of luxury items, and generally that comes from the buying of luxury items from foreign producers. When you make that conscious decision that you are going to be buying used, meaning that the item that is here has already been purchased, that money stays local, right? And what you are doing is repairing what it is that has already been made, right? Your money, instead of buying new, can now be deployed into savings and production. Not that it will be, but it could be, Right? That is the exact way that you build a strong economy, is literally by the people themselves making that conscious decision to not buy foreign production, to not dive into luxury, to buy used, repair it, and then save for production and savings. That will save the economy. That will save the United States. Any other direction is going to result in more war, more debt, and more separation between the rich and the poor. We, the people ourselves, have to make that conscious decision with the way that we consume, with the way that we behave with our finances, with our money. By going any other direction, the moment that we want to enjoy that money by buying a bigger house, a nicer car, wearing nicer clothes, taking fancier vacations, all that is the reason why we have mass inequality taking place within the United States. And as much as we want to blame it on politicians, it's our own fault. It's our own fault from living the luxurious life that we do. Once we understand that, we can actually do something about it. Since most people don't want to blame themselves for the situation that we are now in, it won't be solved. We can understand that that won't happen, and that the idea that there's going to be more war, more debt, and more separation between the rich and the poor is going to be the inevitable, right? So once we figure that part out and we understand it for ourselves, we can then make appropriate decisions for ourselves, knowing that the administrations or the powers that be out there will not go in the correct direction, right? And the correct direction is really the meaning that you have given it. Right or wrong doesn't make any difference. Good or bad doesn't make any difference. It's all about the meaning that you have given it and the position that you have taken on account of that, right? See, the time that we say, hey man, I got a good job, I got a nice house, I got a nice car, and I want to be able to maintain all this stuff considering that I'm out on debt, right? I took it all out on debt in order to pay for this stuff. Then you want to make sure that you can maintain your elevated income. And if there is a situation in which that the administration is doing stuff out there that compromises your position, then you want to start blaming them. This is the problem, right? We have put ourselves in a good position in which that we feel is appropriate for ourselves, and now the administration comes out and says, hey, we're going to do things that are going to compromise your position, and you want to blame them for that, right? Not take responsibility for yourself, saying, hey, maybe I should have thought about the way that I'm bringing this money in and what it is that I'm doing with this money to elevate my standard of living, right? Once I have put myself in that position, well, I don't want that to change, right? And if it does start to change, well, I'm going to blame somebody else because I made decisions that got me here, but I don't want to make decisions to have to deal with that situation. That comes down to somebody else out there and their problem, and they have to fix it so that I can maintain this. You see how the problem relies in this? Nobody is going to be making a decision that's appropriate for me. They can't. There's no way. There's nobody else out there in the entire world that could ever possibly make the appropriate decision for me. That doesn't work like that. And even if I asked them to or wanted them to or voted for somebody who could do it, even if they voted for things to be appropriate for me, they're not going to be appropriate for you. So is that right or wrong? You see where I'm getting at on that? There's no point even looking towards them for help. You have to look and see what it is that they are doing and then make appropriate decisions for yourself. And part of that is to not move into luxurious experiences, to really not enjoy your money. I mean, I know that's harsh to hear and it's kind of sad to say it, but that's the problem. People work hard, they've worked hard for a while, they've increased their savings, and then they want to enjoy it. The moment that they do, they create the separation between the rich and the poor, and the problem with the economy start to manifest themselves. I don't know what it is that you plan on doing about it, but I don't think that can change. All right, moving on here. Whoop, you guys are falling down. Stay upright. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to cruise down here to the bottom. Wow, so many comments. Oh my gosh. Okay, M Rider 777. If you buy local, what the corporations just export the profits, yeah. All right, nothing wrong with enjoying your wealth. This guy doesn't know. Oh, beloved, you tricked me, bro. Go, bro, beloved, you're here every day. I think it's time for you to go. I really do. I mean, I don't think this is an appropriate channel for you. I don't think you're appropriate for the channel. And I don't know what it is that you plan on getting from this channel other than giving me a hard time. So I think it's time for you to go. If I see your comment again, I think I'm just gonna just ban you from the channel, bro. I mean, I don't know what else to do. You don't bring anything useful to us. And if you did, I would let you be here, you know? But you don't. You just want to give everybody here a hard time, including me. So you're not useful, right? William G. Atheist, thank you so much for the $5. China graduates more engineers per year than the rest of the world has. Lots of luck trying to beat that, right? They will own the world. I don't doubt that. I mean, especially when it comes to the manufacturing positions. They just kick ass at it, and there's no way to stop it. All right, Heather. This will be a controversial question. Should we bring back child labor? I don't think we necessarily have to bring back child labor. I think what we should do is remove the minimum wage. Like, minimum wage is probably one of the biggest insults that an individual can get here in the United States. Like, you think about it, if you are not skilled enough, smart enough, or capable enough of being able to profit for your boss at a minimum wage, like if you just can't do it, like you're not mentally capable enough of being able to do the skills that it would take in order to make a profit for your boss, then you're too stupid to work in this country. Like, how big of an insult is that? Like, maybe you can't do anything else than push a broom. Like, that's the only thing you got. Right? But yet, if that's the only thing you got, you're too dumb, you're too stupid, and you're worthless to be working here in the United States. Because if you can't earn a profit for your boss at the minimum wage, then you're not allowed to work here. Right? How big of an insult is that? It's like, it's probably one of the most insulting things that somebody could ever receive. If you screwed up, if you weren't raised properly, if you had bad luck in your life or whatever it is, the victim of your circumstances, and you were just unfortunate, all right? Well, that's just too bad for you, because unless you're smart enough to earn at least a minimum wage to profit for your boss, you're not going to make it here. You're too stupid. That sucks. That sucks, right? It's horrible. It's a horrible thing to have to experience. Oh, sorry, bro. You're gone. I told you not to be here. All right. If I see any of your comments, I'm just going to delete them. I'm not going to read them. I'm just not going to even. I'm not going to even allow it. So you're gone. All right. Hi, Simon. What are your thoughts about AI replacing jobs and the effects on the economy? I don't look at AI as being a bad thing. I look at it as a good thing. It's going to relieve us from doing the mundane things in our lives that prevent us from actually going off and pursuing our passion and doing the things that we really wanted to do with our lives. So to me, like, having technology come in and remove me from my position, right? I understand, like, for a lot of people, that's like kind of heartbreaking for them. But to me, that's a really good thing. That's a good thing that's happening out there, because now you can be relieved to go out there and pursue what it is that you should have been doing with your life to begin with. All right. Simon, are you still investing in bullion, gold, and silver? Yes, Jay, but sort of in a roundabout way. What I ended up doing is I purchased that Suburban just recently, and I traded 100 ounces of silver for it. But I didn't really trade 100 ounces of silver because the guy who I bought the Suburban from didn't want silver. But there was like a kind of like a middleman in between there, and he said that he would loan me the money for the Suburban, and then I could use silver as the collateral. All right, so I basically sold him silver, and then I'm buying it back from him for a little bit of an interest rate attached to it, because I wanted to hold on to the cash. I had some other things that I needed it for at the time, but I wanted the Suburban. So I am buying that bullion back from him, and so it's not like increasing my position in silver. It's just more of buying back what I had sold. But yes, I'm still taking it. I'm still doing it back. So you'll own nothing and be happy. Yeah, I already own nothing. I don't really own that much, so I'm not threatened by that. Like, I don't. People say you're gonna own nothing and be happy, and I'm like, That's cool. I already own nothing. I mean, what difference does that make? People are like, what are you going to do when they start taking all your stuff away? And I'm like, I don't really have anything to take. Like, what are you going to take? I mean, I guess the house, if you took the house from me, that would be a bummer. But then after that, what else do I have? Nothing. I don't really have anything to take. So it's just like, people say you're going to own nothing. And I'm like, well, okay, I already own nothing. It was like, that ain't a threat. All right, M Rider 777. What? That's what I did with my gold. Borrowed money, a little bit of interest. Gold and silver will save you. All right. Does dislike button help Klaus Schwab? I mean, the algorithm Simon and Schwab is whatever. I don't know what that even is supposed to mean. Okay. Universal basic income is a wealth transfer to those who don't know how to market their skills. Universal basic income is the results of the United States attempting to produce a consumer. That's what we do here in the United States. We produce consumers. And there's no better way of producing a consumer than through UBI. You lose the ability to acquire assets that can be then transferred to future generations. That option needs to be available, or there's little motivation to work hard. Christ is king. Okay, I understand your position, but that's for people who are scared, who are in fear, right? I don't live in fear. I'm not afraid of the New World Order. I'm not afraid of anybody coming. Those people do not scare me. Like, I am not intimidated or worried about any of that stuff. That's for people who live in a fear mindset, right? People who don't, trust their own understanding of what it is that they can do with their life, but instead have it left over to somebody else who is going to cause pain and misery to them. I don't give them enough credit for them to be able to do that to me. So you go live in fear and anxiety and hatred for people out there who don't have any kind of real impact on your life, because you're the only one who has a real impact on your life and the decisions that you make. And if you leave your decisions to that of a threat from the New World Order, you will suffer the consequences of that. You will be in pain and misery and depression. I know, because that's the way I lived, right? The moment that I alleviated that out of my thinking process, all of a sudden I became profitable. I became somewhat happy. I all of a sudden started getting experiences in my life that were much more in line with the way that I want to live my life, where I get the freedoms back and stuff. When I left them in control, it's their reason why my life sucks, right? It's their reason why I'm depressed. It's their reason why I'm in debt. It's all this other stuff. Once I alleviated them and saying, okay, well, it's not your problem anymore, it's my problem that I have to deal with, all of a sudden the problems went away. I didn't export my problems to somebody else to deal with. Okay? And that's where I think a lot of people who accuse me of being on board with the Fed or with the New World Order or the WEF or whatever, the World Economic Forum, those people literally live in fear, and because I don't, they want to blame me, right? What do I possibly could do, right, that's going to create a situation in which that you live in a slave mindset? Nothing, right? You have chosen to live that life yourself. I got a beautiful view. Man, I only need two more things. I need good music and I need a ribeye, and I'm good. Man, I'm done, man. All the rest of you can try keeping working hard. I got a view. I'm gonna soon have music and a ribeye, and I'm done. Man, I got what I want. I don't know what else you guys want. All right. Watch your video about lumber either today, and man, you got it right about money and how you can let it control you. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the thing about it is that when you don't have it, right, it becomes the most important thing in your entire world, right? You give it all this importance and expectations that are behind it, and then what ends up happening is it becomes very difficult. You try very hard to try and acquire this stuff. You chase it in every direction, and it seems to constantly run from you. When you change the mindset that says, I don't need all this money in my life. What I need is have an ability to pay my bills on time. What I need is the ability to save when I when I find it appropriate, or to invest when I find it appropriate. When I find that that is what I really want in my life, the money starts to appear, because what is happening is your subconscious, your heart, everything, it doesn't know what the hell money is, right? It doesn't feel money. It feels energy. That's it. It feels vibrations. And so once you put yourself in line with that energy and that vibration, then it just starts naturally showing up, right? I didn't think I need to make money to pay my bills. All I thought was, how do I pay my bills on time? That's it. I didn't think about like, how do I get the money to pay the bill? I just thought it would be nice to have a position in which that my bills were being paid on time. And it totally showed up. Like, I didn't even really try to do it. Like, I wasn't trying to make money on YouTube when I first started doing the YouTube channel. That only came long time after doing massive amounts of videos. And then the money showed up. And then like the idea of being able to buy a house, well, now it was capable. My bills get paid on time. I can invest in stuff, but I never really tried to make money on it. All I tried to do was be consistent and be authentic and be helpful and useful. And that was my whole plan, right? That was it. That was my plan. Be helpful, useful, and be consistent. And everything else will fall into line. And it does. And I know most people who hear that will never trust it. They will never trust it because their ego says, no, we want to be safe. We got to make sure that what we are doing is the correct way. We need reassurance. We need confirmation. We need, validation for all this stuff that we are doing out there, not realizing that if you just pursue what it is that you have in you as a passion, something that is going to be helpful and useful to other people, the moment that you start stepping into that sort of life and energy, then things just start naturally flowing in a much better fashion for you. If you believe that the New World Order is trying to keep you suppressed, I guarantee you it'll happen. Your subconscious will be like, absolutely it does. Let's do it, man. Let's make your life suppressed and depressive, right? If lumber is the number one indicator, what would oil be? Number two? All right. Don't even try, beloved. All right? I'm not reading them, and I'm just out of here. All right. I need to start a YouTube channel reviewing different Panda Expresses. Yes, absolutely, man. I mean, if Panda Express is your restaurant and you enjoy it and you want to go around to different ones and testing out the food and the experience and the service and the locations and all that other stuff, do it. Like, go for it, man. I mean, I hope you do. All right. That's all well and good and all until another attempt at 2020 happens really close and really fast. Yeah, but the thing is, what is that? The sower of seed? To be honest with you, that is another opportunity for you. If you could see it coming, if you could understand it, if you knew that the Federal Reserve was looking for a position in which that elevated inflation was going to be part of the monetary policy, that elevated interest rates in order to raise the neutral interest rate was going to be part of the monetary policy, all that stuff starts to make a lot more sense. You don't think that the government is flying off the seat of their pants trying to deal with like a warlike effort with no real understanding of what it is that's taking place. It was a definite plan. Like, it was like they were rolling into it. They were like, okay, war, natural disaster, pandemic. Oh, pandemic, that's the one. Wow, special purpose vehicles and stimulus packages. This is going to be fun, guys, right? They knew what they were going to do with that. They knew it. Or else they wouldn't have been able to deploy it so fast, right? It was like they literally came up with a plan overnight, No, they had that plan ready to go. This guy never stops talking. Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, I agree with that. I kind of never do. Alrighty, guys, I got to go back to work, so I am stop talking right now. I really appreciate everybody being here, hitting me up with those super chats, $5.59 in super chats, because you guys are always so supportive of the channel. We got 107 likes. Thank you for hitting that like button. By hitting that like button, the YouTube algorithm will pick up the video, spread it around for more people to join in. 540 people watching. With 540 people watching, please go hit the link to the YouTube or to the Uneducated Economist podcast. Go and listen to some of the podcasts and join that channel. We're trying to increase the amount of views and stuff that are happening on the podcast, and you can help support the Uneducated Economist by checking out that podcast. You guys are awesome. I'm going to give you one more shot of the river, You can kind of see the bridge in the background. That's the Megler Bridge. It's 4.3 miles from Washington over to, or from Oregon over to Washington. So I don't know if you can see it over there. It's kind of small, but in the very far corner, you can kind of see a little bit of the Washington over there. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Uneducated Economist, you let me know.